Jocelyn Delk Adams, aka Grandbaby Cakes, and today I'm going to show you how I make my Strawberry Rhubarb Cornmeal Skillet Cake. Cornbread is one of the quintessential dishes you have in the South. In my family, we take it seriously. All of my people are Southern and we know real cornbread, which is why in the South, they don't put sugar in cornbread. This is a very controversial thing, okay? If you talk to Northerners, they always have sugar in cornbread, but in the South, we don't play that. That's why today I'm kind of taking a risk because my people will probably be like, cornmeal skillet cake? Isn't that some kind of cornbread that you mashed with some sugar? Basically, but this is the only way I can pretty much get away with it with my family. And I think they would approve because I'm adding strawberries and rhubarb and I'm making this a truly special spring treat. So let's get started. To begin, I am going to make this incredible rosemary whipped cream. I started using herbs with some of my baking because I really love that incredible, delicate flavor that it lends. And it's just like something that just kind of gives it a little difference, a little uniqueness that you can't quite put your finger on. It's not overwhelming, but it's subtle and it's delicious. So I'm going to add some heavy whipping cream to my bowl. And then I'm also going to add some vanilla paste. Now, vanilla bean paste is something that a lot of people usually don't use because they either have pure vanilla extract in their home or they have vanilla seeds. You know, they have actual vanilla seeds. And so I have found that this is a great and super easy way to get all of that incredible vanilla flavor without actually having to sit there and scrape seeds out of your pods, right? Who got time for that? We're gonna add some fresh rosemary. So my trick is when I want to really release the oils in the rosemary, I like to really rub them together. So get in there, get that nice hand work. This is a fun thing to do with the kids too. Get that going, and then I add it right into our whipped cream. I'm going to add a little bit of our plastic wrap right over our bowl. And I'm gonna place this in the refrigerator and let all of those oils really seep in, let that vanilla get in here before we make our whipped cream. So my heavy cream has been sitting in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. You can go up to 4 hours if you really wanna get that incredible essence and flavor to come in. And now it's super cold and I'm going to strain this. I wanna make sure that our whipped cream is nice and smooth. So I'm going to pour this right through a strainer into another bowl. We're gonna start our process for whipped cream. So I really love to use a cold bowl and I love to use cold beaters on your hand mixer or your stand mixer. It just allows it to make sure that it beats up to an incredible, nice stiff peak. And I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna start at a high speed, and then we're gonna bring this to about soft peaks before we add in our powdered sugar. You can go from a nice, lovely soft peak to a stiff peak, and then all of a sudden it's butter if you overdo it. So you need to make sure you do not overmix this. So I'm gonna add in some powdered sugar at this stage. You can actually stick your spoon inside of the stiff peaks, and if it doesn't like sort of move, it's like perfect stiff peaks. And there's our rosemary whipped cream. It's going in the refrigerator while we work on the cake. So before we get started on our cake batter, I'm actually going to take my 10-inch cast iron skillet and I'm going to put it in a preheated oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. I wanna get it nice and hot. So next we're gonna get started on the cornmeal skillet cake batter. So I'm starting with some all-purpose flour. I'm going to add in some fine cornmeal. And I'm gonna add in some kosher salt because you always gotta add some salt to your baking, okay? Everyone thinks about the sugar, but you really need for things to be nice and balanced. So I'm just gonna whisk all of this together quickly, get it nice and combined. And next, we are going to add our butter right into our stand mixer. Now this is room temperature butter. Gotta make sure, and it's unsalted because we added some salt into our dry ingredients. So don't forget that. Always make sure you use it and it's completely unsalted. And I've got a little butter here. I can't wait to show you what I'm using that for, but just keep a little butter. We're gonna need that later. So I'm gonna start mixing this on a nice speed, probably like a medium high, and then I'm gonna start to add in my granulated sugar. This reminds me of baking with my grandmother. She lived in Winona, Mississippi, and she is truly the reason why I bake today. She is the one who truly made me fall in love with desserts. So I'm gonna let this butter and this sugar whip until it's nice and fluffy. You wanna make sure that it gets light and creamy and sort of like this nice smooth texture. I like to turn off the mixer sometimes. Go along the sides with my spatula and make sure I get all of that butter right down into the bottom of my whisk attachment. And now we're gonna add in our eggs one at a time. We are going to add in one of my special ingredients for this cake, goat cheese. Did you guess that? I bet you didn't. Goat cheese is something that I thought would sort of lend this recipe a little difference in terms of flavor. It's tangy, it's earthy. It's got so many incredible flavor notes that really sort of take this cake batter over the edge. So this, of course, is room temperature and it's crumbled, and I'm adding this right into our batter as well. I'm going to slow our mixer down a bit, and we're going to start to add in our dry ingredients that we combined earlier. And I want to get this right into our batter. It's thickened up a little bit, so this is going to thicken it up even more. We have whole buttermilk. Now, whole buttermilk really has an incredible depth of flavor, that tanginess. It also has that incredible richness and thickness that is going to make this cake so moist. And then finally, I have some more of that vanilla bean paste I told y'all about. And that's it. That's our beautiful cornmeal batter. Now, everyone knows this combination, the iconic combination of strawberries and rhubarb. You get these incredibly ripe, sweet, juicy strawberries that kind of, are the polar opposite of the tart rhubarb. For this cake, we are using maybe just a little bit less rhubarb than the strawberry, and then we're just gonna cut it diagonally. Here is our cast iron skillet that is right out of the oven. It's been in there for about 10 minutes so we can get that nice heat to distribute evenly throughout it. I'm gonna put this last pat of butter I told you guys about earlier in here. This is an old school trick my mama taught me for any cornbread that I make. I always add the skillet right into the oven, and then I put the butter in, and it creates the most sensational, crisp exterior, and then it gives you that moist interior. It's the best of both worlds in terms of texture. I'm going to add in my cornmeal batter. I want to add some turbinado or raw sugar right to the top. It's gonna give this gorgeous crunch and nice crisp texture as well. So now this is ready to go in the oven. I baked this at 350 for about 55 minutes, and it comes out golden brown and delicious, y'all. And now it's time to eat, y'all. So I like to either serve this warm out of the oven, totally up to you, or you can serve it, on the table. This is real Southern, y'all. You serve it on the table in the cast iron skillet. And do you see this? Do you see this gorgeous exterior? Like, look at that right there. Look at that. I am pretty sure that this cake would completely convince some of my old school Southern people that say Cornbread and sugar do not go together because this is so delightful. I hope you will enjoy this all spring long. And when rhubarb is not in season, remember you can grab some frozen and still make this, which is what I plan to do. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and come sit around the table and eat it with me, y'all. Make sure you head to grandbaby-cakes.com to grab this recipe and so many more. And don't forget to subscribe so you can check out my weekly recipe videos.